Welcome, travelers! Some of you asked for a tutorial of the island I'm currently building, so today we're gonna go through the process of the very basics of building an island. After the video, you'll be able to easily recreate it in just a few steps. First, of course, we need to find ourselves an ocean. I've used a super flat world for this example. For building the landscape, we'll be using World Edit, for which I'll have a download link in the description. To start off, we'll simplify our process by draining part of the ocean. To do that, we'll set our first position on the ocean floor and the second one further away on the surface, which you can do by right and left clicking on a block with a wooden axe, or use the position 1 and 2 commands. For building an actual island though, I definitely recommend using a larger area. Now we'll simply fill the area using the set command. I like to use colored concrete as it sets itself apart from the natural generating blocks we find in our world. Set your positions in two opposite corners of your square and replace the blocks with air. Alright, now we can already start building our island. I like using a different tool like a wooden pickaxe for terraforming and the axe for quickly setting my positions, but you can stick to one tool as well. For the following part, we'll make use of the brush sphere command. Here I usually use sand as it's affected by gravity, allowing for a more natural looking landscape. The number after our block indicates the size of the sphere we're making. If we change it to something like 2, our sphere will be way smaller than before. But for now I'll stick with a value of 4. The mask command is another useful tool which allows us to only replace a certain type of block. If we type in mask air, our spheres will only be replacing air blocks. Now with the basics out of the way, let's start building. With our sphere set, we can simply fly around creating a landscape that suits our needs. If you've got a bigger surface area on top of your cliff, you can use the brush cylinder command to flatten it, allowing you to easily build something like a house on top of it. Currently, the terrain still looks a bit messy. But making use of the brush smooth command, we can manually smooth out the landscape. The second method is setting your positions around your creation and using the smooth command to let the terrain smooth out automatically. How many times did I say smooth here? Okay, when you're happy with your layout, it's time to actually texture the island. There are a few ways to do so. Find some blocks that you would like to include in your build. For example, I'm going for a simple gradient from moss blocks to stone. Let's start with the easiest method of texturing. Set your positions in the corners of your terrain and replace the sand with grass blocks. After some time, every block except for the top layer will be turned into dirt. We can speed up this process by dramatically increasing the random tick speed with a command. Now we can easily replace all dirt blocks with our color palette. The percentage before the name of the block indicates how often it will appear in the build. Alright, we've successfully textured our build with just a few commands, but let me show you another method which is actually my favorite, and which is the most time consuming. Using the brush sphere command, we can manually paint a texture on our terrain, which allows for a way more detailed appearance. Let's say we want the base of the island to be really mossy, which then transitions into clean stone further up. Using our color palette, we set the percentage of moss blocks higher than, for example, cobblestone. Then we use the mask sand command again to make sure we'll only be replacing the sand blocks and simply start painting. After we finish texturing the base of the island, we reset our brush. To achieve a transition, we now delete the moss block completely and instead add our stone with a high percentage. You can repeat this process as often as you'd like and with as many blocks as you wish. And as we see, the end result is a way smoother gradient as with the first method. Now we have one last way to texture our build, which is a combination of the first two practices. Instead of manually painting our textures onto the island, we can set our first position at the bottom corner and the second one a bit further up to the opposite side. Then we use the same technique of putting lots of moss blocks at the bottom and lots of stone blocks on top. Instead of painting, we'll simply elevate our positions and type in the command. Then repeat until we've reached the top. Nice! Now all that's left is to flood the whole thing. Set your positions in the two opposite corners of the walls surrounding your island and replace the air as well as the red concrete with water. Okay, I admit, my little example island was a bit pathetic. So I made use of all the things mentioned in the video and created a real little island to hopefully give you some inspiration and ideas for your own builds. I hope this video was helpful or at least gave you some inspiration. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. You can also download this build over on my Patreon. I appreciate all of you and I'll see you in our next adventure. For which I'll have a download link in the description. First, of course, we need to find stuff.